So NASDAQ futures are down during the aftermarket session, but pretty much almost break even. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBit Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. Let's go ahead and talk about the overall NASDAQ market. Just want to make sure, following up with today's earlier video, one of the things that I'm paying attention to this week with our Learn Plan Profit team is there are two specific speeches, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. And you guys should be able to see it here. We have on Tuesday, March 7th at 10 a.m., which is 30 minutes after the market opens. We have Jerome Powell, who's the head of the Federal Reserve. He will be speaking. And then on Wednesday, also at 10 a.m., 30 minutes after the market opens, he will be speaking once again. So again, please just make sure that you are aware of that. There's going to be a second speech, not by Jerome Powell, but Michael Barr, and that's going to be 30 minutes after the market opens on the 9th. But I would say the two most important ones are definitely going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. And one of the last things that I want to talk about is on Friday, based off of the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistic, we have on March 10th, which is Friday, 1 hour before the market opens, we have the employment situation, pretty much the employment report that is going to be released. This is going to tell us that in the month of February, if we saw employment go up and by how many new jobs were created. Remember, last month when it was reported for the month of January, we actually saw the market react in a negative way because of the employment. The number of jobs created in the month of January were nearly double of what was expected. So just want to make sure you guys take that into consideration. If Jerome Powell says anything close to what's his name? The Fed president of Atlanta, although he doesn't have any voting rights, the Fed president of Atlanta, Georgia, made a comment about him supporting a 0.25% interest rate hike. And that is what sparked the initial rally for the NASDAQ market. So if Jerome Powell says anything to support that, yes, they are really working towards only raising interest rates 0.25%, then the market will most likely react in a positive way based off of previous comments. But if he says anything about raising interest rates more aggressive than 0.25%, then the NASDAQ market will most likely drop. So again, this is why the speeches are so important this week, both on Tuesday and on Wednesday, is people are trying to have a better understanding of what the intention is for the next up and coming interest rate hike. So without further ado, again, if you guys want me to break down your stock, all I literally ask you to do is to drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share your top stock in the live chat, and I will break it down for you. You could only participate in the live chat if you are subscribed to the channel. So just want to make sure that you are all aware of that. But I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, so I'm thinking of breaking down just 10 stocks, and then we'll call it a Sunday stock talk. So let's go ahead and start off with Tesla. So again, a lot of this is going to be dependent on the overall market's continuous movement, right? We can see that Tesla, as of right now, it's not that it's not showing any more signs of an uptrend or any more signs of progress, but we could see that we pretty much peaked on February 15th, February 16th, and we've been trading sideways ever since. So it's not showing any more signs of continuous progress. We're trading below the moving average, and it really is based off of how the NASDAQ market trades this week, right? Because the NASDAQ market is still holding above the moving average, but if Jerome Powell says anything and or this employment report that comes out worse than expected, then the market can, of course, drop, right? My big concern here is that we rallied from 101 all the way to 117. So yes, over 100% return in just 1 month on Tesla. And now we're trading sideways. So one of the things that we talk about is if there's no signs of continuous progress, then why do you still have an open position? Again, it's not that it can't continue to show signs of higher highs and higher lows. I would just be careful that if this thing begins to come back to retest, 185 and it breaks below that low, then at that point, it's no longer an uptrend. It's traded sideways, and that's almost like the 3 stages of a reversal on the short side, right? Uptrend, consolidation, and then confirmation on a downtrend. So I would just be very careful getting caught on the wrong side of something, hoping that it continues to rally, but then maybe it just actually doesn't, right? Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So that was the first stock that we broke down, and we have Luis Gomez asking me to break down Amazon. So again, if you want me to break down your top stock, all we literally ask you to do is drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and share your top stock in the live chat. So we have Amazon. I think Amazon, in my opinion, is an amazing long-term play. Even if the market does pull on back, you guys know that I'm very biased on this. I think Amazon at anything below $100 a share based off of previous patterns, I think we'll look back at Amazon and be like, dang, I wish I would have bought more, right? Amazon is not a stock that I would specifically focus so much on day trading myself. And altogether, as of right now, I mean, it's still getting rejected by the moving average. It's still forming lower highs and lower lows. And there's no confirmation of an overall reversal just yet. So because of that, I wouldn't overcomplicate it. I think that this is a great long-term investment. It's not something where I'm trying to liquidate or sell any of the shares anytime soon. Anytime that it sells off, I view it as a new buying opportunity to buy more at lower levels and add more to it as it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. So definitely not a day trade for me. It's more of either a swing trade and or a long-term investment, especially at anything under $100 a share. But of course, the cheap can always get cheaper. And the question that we always remind you to ask yourself is, watch your position size, and also, can you tolerate the time that it will take for the market to recover? We all know that markets will always eventually recover, but can things get worse before they get better? Of course, and that's why you need to watch that position size, right? It all goes back to the same thing. So we got NVIDIA. What's going on, Gustavo? So Gustavo is asking me to break down NVIDIA, especially after its recent rally. NVIDIA has been on a hot streak. I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed, from overall lows of 109, now trading at nearly more than double, really, 238.90. In my opinion, very overbought, but super, super bullish. So we're going back to retest that same resistance, and we can see on the 4-hour time frame from the lows of 108, higher highs, higher lows. I mean, it's a beautiful uptrend pattern. It looks like anytime that it pulls on back, as long as it's holding above the moving average, that's the ideal entry, right? Because you get in at least at a cheaper price, and then you got to make up the difference when it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. As of right now, based off of Friday's performance, we're going back to retest that same resistance. But understand that if the market begins to sell off this week, then so will NVIDIA. NVIDIA will most likely follow based off of overall NASDAQ and S&P 500 performance. So that's why I'm telling you that, you know, this week is very important, just like last week was, right? Last week, if we would have broken below the moving average on NASDAQ, it could have been a very scary time to have been long, right? So all I'm saying right now is, especially as NVIDIA has crossed from 108 all the way up to 200, you can't be surprised if things begin to pull on back, right? It's not to scare you. It's just I want to make sure you keep your profits, right? If you've done a great job getting in at the low 100s, I want to make sure that you don't write it all the way back down if it begins to sell off, which is why, again, instead of trying to maximize your position right now, it's during overbought levels. You anticipate little pullbacks so you can buy more at the lower levels, right? It's kind of like, not overcomplicating your trading and not getting greedy, but understanding that if this thing does pull on back, then you can make even more money when it begins to recover. And that's kind of the way that I see NVIDIA right now. It's very overbought, very bullish, and it's great for those that are already invested. For me, it's already too late. I would need it to pull back a little bit closer to the EMA line or the moving average for me to find this thing to be attractive enough to make or to take a position based off of the upside potential versus the downside risk. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got LRF Cars asked me to break down Costco. So Costco has been a great performing stock. What was it? For all of 2022, it was one of very few stocks that continuously made higher highs and higher lows, as you can see, which is one thing that I love. But one thing that we need to point out right now is, if I were to ask you, right, feel free to share in the live chat. If I were to ask you, is this an uptrend? Is this a downtrend? Or is this simply consolidating right now? So if I were to ask you this, what is this, right? Is this an active uptrend? Is this an active downtrend? Or is this something that is currently consolidating right now? In my opinion, this is consolidation, right? It's trading sideways, and it's been trading sideways ever since, what is that? Kind of this is the beginning of 2022. So it was 2021 when it had a great performing year. From the beginning of 2022, we've been trading sideways. We've been finding a very common support level at 460, a very common resistance level at 430. But you could see almost every time it continues to make these lower highs, right? It doesn't go as high as it did before. That's kind of concerning, right? We are oversold here. MACD looks good. RSI looks amazing. I can see why you're paying attention to it, because you're probably thinking of maybe a short-term swing trade, right? It offers 9 to 10% margin in a perfect world. I'm not a perfect trader. I don't know about you, right? But I see what you see. But with the descending moving average, with the descending resistance, and with it trading sideways, I would just be careful. Remember, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to, but at least it's not an active sell-off, right? But I do want to make you aware of that descending moving average and the descending resistance. So you can't really expect it to go all the way back up to 530 when every single time it's lost about $10 to $15 on its resistance, right? Every single time it has a descending resistance. So please just make sure that you are aware of that before you get super hopeful and think that it all of a sudden has to recover. Especially if markets begin to sell off, then this thing will most likely follow as well. So, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got Victor asking me to break down EPD. So let's go ahead and break this down. Again, if you want me to break down your top stock, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a thumbs up on this video, and feel free to share it in the live chat. So here we go. What's going on here? Alrighty, so we got EPD forming higher highs and higher lows. Beautiful uptrend pattern. It's not anything that offers anything too attractive in the sense that it hasn't recently pulled on back where there's huge upside potential. It's going back to retest that same resistance. So if you like trading something that continuously offers signs of an uptrend pattern, you don't like to overcomplicate your trading or your investments, then as of right now, this thing looks like it's been pretty solid. Anytime that it pulls on back, it looks like a huge dip buy opportunity. It continues to rally, it dips, it continues to rally, and it's been doing this for quite some time, right? So you can see how consistent it's been, and obviously these are not always going to yield the largest return, but it's because of how consistent, right? You get the reassurance that this thing will most likely recover. So it looks like anytime that this thing breaks below the moving average, it's a pretty solid buy, especially when you get confirmation above that EMA. So I like that you're at least paying attention to stocks that show signs of a continuous uptrend pattern. Do I find it to be the most attractive based off of upside potential versus downside risk? No, the risk to reward ratios just aren't in my favor, but everything else is, right? Direction, consistency, higher highs, higher lows. I love it. So, all right. Let's go ahead and break down the CCL, Carnival Cruise Line. Let's go ahead and break that one down. Let's see how many we've broken down so far already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to break down 4 more stocks. So again, if you want me to break down your top stock, share it in the live chat. So Carnival Cruise Line recently breaking above the moving average. The big thing that I would pay attention to this is it holding above the moving average. I really don't care about anything else other than that right now. The MACD looks good. The RSI looks fine. That's indifferent to me. My big thing is this thing going to begin to show signs of higher lows and higher highs? And will it hold above this moving average? That's the magical question right now. There's obviously huge upside potential on stocks like, Carnival Cruise Line, right? Over 180% ROI based off of previous highs when it was at 31.52. That's all great, but it means nothing if this thing is not showing signs of progress, right? As of right now, we have a very common resistance level at $12 a share. We're going to go most likely back to retest this. Again, there is so much upside potential. You don't have to be super aggressive with your position, and you don't have to be super aggressive with putting yourself in a position in which you cannot tolerate. If this thing breaks below the moving average, I would get out, right? Just like you are thinking about all the upside potential, you need to take into consideration the downside risk. There is no trade that you should ever take with only thinking about how much money you can make and not taking how much money you can lose into consideration. So please make sure that you are aware of that. Let's go ahead and break down 4 more different stocks, and then we'll call it a Sunday stock talk. So, all right. So we got CHPT. Let's go ahead and break that one down. So we got Sunil's CHPT. We haven't broke this one down in quite some time. Lower highs, lower lows, a consistent descending pattern. Yeah, it might rally a little bit, but based off of recent patterns, this is the most unattractive stock that we've broken down so far, and it looks like a complete pump and dump, right? From overall lows of $11 to highs of $49. It's been making lower highs and lower lows ever since then. They might come out with some apparent reason on why it needs to be taking off soon. Again, I would not read into any of that. If you want to go into this for a quick little day trade because you see it to be, a pump and dump opportunity, sure, right? As long as you understand and respect it as what it is. It's a pump and dump, and when it gets going, great. But other than that, we all know that these things never last, right? So don't be hopeful like everyone else and think that this thing is going to go to the moon, right? When you make your money, understand that they don't last and that more often than not, they end up selling off and making lower highs and lower lows. So locking in profits with something like this is never a bad idea. What's going on, Jason? So we got ENPH. Let's go ahead and break that down. Hopefully I earn your thumbs up on this video. I love it. This is probably my favorite one that we've broken down so far. So ENPH, so Enphase Energy, has recently pulled on back to lows of 200. I love how much it's pulled on back. I love this overall uptrend pattern, especially on the day chart. We can see 2021, we can see 2022, and although there are inconsistencies, we know that anytime that it does pull back this much, that it makes a big effort in trying to recover, right? And that's where the big money is made, right? It's during the uncertain times where investors can double down and make money on the recovery. So I actually want to see if we can calculate, is it working? All right. To see if we can calculate how much upside potential this has. This has about 55% in a perfect world. I'm not a perfect trader, so even if you capture half of that, right, 25%, your entry doesn't need to be perfect, your exit doesn't need to be perfect, but that's the beautiful thing about the stock market is that if you add this to your watch list, if you set effective alerts, if you wait for proper confirmation, you watch your position size and you don't or are not afraid of locking in profits at overbought levels, then again, that's where big money can be made, especially if you take time and effort to prepare. So I can go ahead and update my alerts here. I have my alert here for the break above the moving average. I have my alert here for the break below previous support levels, because again, the big thing is it's not just buying the dip and hoping that all of a sudden it begins to recover, but it's waiting for that proper confirmation, right? Breaking above that EMA, waiting for higher highs. We know that it offers 55%. And like I said, even if I capture half of that, I don't have to go in with a perfect entry. My big focus would be getting in when it's an active uptrend, not when it's almost indicating signs of an uptrend, right? There's a big difference between that. So this one is my favorite one that we've broken down so far. So excited to follow up. Let's go ahead and do 2 more breakdowns and we'll call it a live stream. So we got Michael with PANW. Michael, hopefully we earn your thumbs up in this video. Let's go ahead and break this one down. So I like how consistent it's been, an overall uptrend pattern based off previous highs. It's been trading sideways for some time, but again, it recently pulled on back, and then now it's going back to retest that same resistance. Looking at the RSI, overbought. Looking at the MACD, overbought. Based off of upside potential versus downside risk, if I'm going off of previous patterns, I would just say that I've missed the rally on this one. I have to respect that. Yeah, I could potentially make a little bit more, or if it begins to make new highs, sure. But guess what? What if it doesn't, right? I have to take that into consideration. What if it doesn't? What if it gets rejected here and then it begins to sell right back off? Then I literally bought at the highest level when it was obvious, right? MACD is showing me that it's overbought. RSI is showing me that it's overbought. So I would be very careful with these and watch your position size for if you choose to get in, right? Because it's still indicating signs of an uptrend. Just please be careful that if this thing begins to sell off, again, you have to respect when there's that confirmation of that change of direction. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds and let me know in the live chat what is the last stock that we're going to break down. And before we even break down the last stock, again, I just want to recap. Tuesday and Wednesday this week, Jerome Powell is going to be speaking. Do not forget. And we also have an employment report that's going to be released 1 hour before the market opens on Friday. So you cannot say that we did not warn you. I know a lot of you guys are subscribed to the channel for that specific reason. Now you are aware. Those are the 3 main things that I'm paying attention to. And of course, I do want to remind you, we're running our biggest giveaway. And if you've ever wanted to join Learn Plan Profit 2.0, one of the easiest ways to earn a bunch of entries is right now for every new member that signs up for Learn Plan Profit 2.0, which is the second link in the description down below. Not only are you getting the biggest discount, which is $150 off, you also get to watch me trade live every day, and you also get 5,000 entries towards the GTR or $50,000 cash giveaway. A lot of you guys have been asking me, when does it officially start? It started officially on March 3rd. It's live. It's active right now. So if you've wanted to enter, now is your chance. The second link down below will earn you 5,000 entries. And again, that's for the 2019 Nissan GTR or $50,000 cash. Remember, you can't win if you don't enter, and this is just one of the two ways in which you can enter, and that's, again, kind of killing two birds with one stone, that if you wanted to sign up for LPP already, well, now right now we have that 5,000 automatic entries. You can also head on over to TechBuds Apparel, right? ShopTechBuds.com, and for every $1 that you spend, it equals 5 automatic entries, and that's for that GTR or $50,000 cash giveaway. So again, that's at shoptechbuds.com or the fourth link in the description down below. So let's go ahead and break down that last stock. We're going to do ADM. Let's see if this is a good one. ADM. So we got firefighter ask. Okay, this one's actually not bad. I love how consistent it's been. I love that it recently pulled on back. It's setting up for a potential reversal. I know a lot of you guys have a very similar eye with what you like to trade. So we could see in a perfect roll, this thing offers a 20% ROI. The goal on that one would be about 10%, right? We wait for proper confirmation for the break above the EMA and the moving average. So we just wait for confirmation so we don't get in here and then it just continues to sell off. That's one of the worst feelings. So we can set an alert if we end up breaking below that support range. But again, it's very simple, right? We wait for confirmation for the break above, and then we can revisit this and be like, hey, do I want to enter to potentially sell close to $92 or $95 a share, right? Not bad. But if it breaks below and it continues to sell off, then it doesn't matter, right? Because we didn't enter. And this is why you set these two alerts. For the break above the moving average, for the break below based off previous support level, because if this thing continues to sell off, then we can just remove it from our watch list. So other than that, that's pretty much it for this week. Again, guys, I cannot remind you enough, GTR giveaway or $50,000 cash. So many of you guys are messaging me through Discord, through email, through LPP, or through Instagram on how you can enter. There's two ways. You can sign up for Learn Plan Profit 2.0, and this is for only new members, right? New members, you earn 5,000 automatic entries. You don't have to do anything. Just by clicking the second link, by signing up, you get automatically entered for a chance to win this Nissan GTR or $50,000 cash. We have a third-party sweepstakes company that we hired. We had to pay a bond for it to guarantee that a winner will be randomly selected. So one of you guys is going to win the GTR or $50,000 cash. So you guys can let me know in the live chat, would you rather want the GTR or would you rather want the cash, right? The second way on how to enter is TechBuds Apparel. $1 spent equals 5 automatic entries. And of course, just select your favorite items and get entered for a chance to win the GTR or $50,000 cash. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me via Discord or via Instagram. And yes, I am using the Webull trading application, and that is that fifth link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. Hope that we earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, please message me either on Discord, Instagram, which is the first or third link down below. And I want to remind you, there's a bunch of fake accounts on YouTube. There's a bunch of fake accounts on Instagram that will try to reach out to you and ask you through like to invest in Bitcoin or to send them money so they can trade for you. I'm telling you right now, I do not offer anything where I trade for anyone. I will never reach out to you asking you for money, right? I offer one service, and that's the Learn Plan Profit 2.0. If you want to sign up, I will never reach out to you that you need to. But if you want to sign up, it's the second link in the description down below. For our GTR giveaway, we will never reach out to you over email or over message or ask you for money so you can win the giveaway, okay? When we select the winner, I will FaceTime you. I will call you. You will hear my voice. You will see me. Please, please, please understand that we offer two things, TechBuds Apparel and Learn Plan Profit 2.0. Those are the only things that we offer. Everything else, I can promise you, is fake. Okay? Hope that we earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. Turn on your post notifications, especially if you want to watch the free Fed speech that we're going to be live streaming this week. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.